Hi friends, today we are going to see the past year NEET questions for the chapter Biological Classification, and in this video we will cover part 7. So let's begin with a question which was asked in the year 2002. Which of the following secretes toxin during storage condition of crop plants? So you're given 4 options here: Aspergillus, Fusarium, Penicillin, Calyptotrichum. All these are collectively fungi that they have given here. So particularly when we talk about fungi, they are classified into basidiomycetes or deuteromycetes depending upon their genus or the family that they belong to. So out of the 4 options given here, the correct answer goes to Aspergillus. So before we go into what exactly is the answer here, Aspergillus species are predominantly said to produce something called mycotoxins in common. Okay, naturally they produce toxins. These toxins are known to be very strong and varied and has varied biological activities. For example, one of the mycotoxin that it produces is called as aflatoxin. Okay, the most well known and the well investigated mycotoxin, which is said to known, or it is known to carry the most potent carcinogenic activity as a natural product. So here if you see, sometimes these Aspergillus grow on food commodities, especially groundnuts, wheat, stored cereals. So it is very important, if it is contaminated with some fungi, please don't intake it. Okay, so the correct answer to this question is option A, Aspergillus. Aspergillus flavus produces carcinogenic fungus toxin, which is called as aflatoxin, and this is once again comes under mycotoxins, and this is happening during the storage condition of a crop plant. Okay, the correct answer is option A. To your right side, you can see a picture of how the Aspergillus looks. It has spores which are eliminated from it. Okay, fine. Next question here. Which fungal disease spreads by seed and flowers? Which fungal diseases? Okay, again you're given 4 options here: loose smut of wheat, corn stunt. So what do you think is loose smut of wheat? How does it resemble? How will it look like? Of course, all the diseases that you're given here is a fungal disease. Okay, loose smut of wheat, okay, is a seed-borne disease that is caused by the fungus Asligo. Okay, the fungus that causes loose smut survives as a dormant mycelia within the embryo of an infected wheat seed. When the seed germinates, the fungus becomes to be active. Okay, so loose smut of wheat is said to spread by seed. What do you mean by corn stunt? You have something here as corn stunt. So what do you mean by corn stunt? It's also a fungal disease. Okay, it is a, so I will write it here so that will be easy for you. This is a fungal disease. Okay, corn stunt is a bacterial disease. It is a bacterial disease of corn and other grasses. Symptoms included stunted growth and leaves turning red. It is caused by the bacterium Spiroplasma. Okay, now covered smut of barley. So what causes that? Covered smut of barley. So that is once again it's a fungal disease. Soft rot in potato is also fungal disease, but covered smut of barley and soft rot of potato, they do not produce by seeds or flowers. The correct answer is loose smut of wheat. Asligo causes the loose smut of wheat. As a result, the grain and the flour gets converted into a powdered mass. So here if you clearly notice, the fungus which gets infested in the seed itself, it remains dormant during that period, and once the seed starts to germinate, what happens there? Once it starts to germinate, the seed, the fungus which is present in it, which is dormant, becomes active and thereby infects the wheat plant. The correct answer here is option A. So to your right side, you can see how the wheat has turned into a powdered mass. It turns black and becomes powdered mass. Next question here. Plant decomposers are called as dash. Very easy question for you. If you remember, we had already discussed this in the earlier parts of this chapter. So plant decomposers, see, when we talk about decomposers, mainly they are bacteria. We already saw that, right? And bacteria, they are of different shapes. Namely, you have a cockeye rod, spiral, comma shape, so on. So when we talk about decomposers, the first thing that you need to get into mind is bacteria. Other than that, you also have certain fungi which also help in decomposing. Plant decomposers are bacteria which belongs to the kingdom Monera. You remember the 5 kingdom classification which was given by R.H. Whittaker? So bacteria is exclusively in the kingdom Monera. Therefore, the correct answer is option A. Monera and fungi are the plant decomposers. Okay. Next question here. Adhesive pad of fungi penetrates the host with the help of dash. So what do you mean by adhesive pad? Adhesive means it is understood. It is something that will stick, right? So what do you mean? See, these pads, why it has to be present? Answer that. Because only when there is some nature of stickiness to the host, it can remain as such in the host. The adhesive pad of the fungi will penetrate it will penetrate to the host with the help of a mechanical pressure and enzymes. It pushes against the cell wall of the host and then release an enzyme called as cellulase to digest the cellulose. Why this is produced? To digest the cellulose. Okay, to digest cellulose of the host cell wall so that the hyphae is able to penetrate the host cell wall. So the adhesive pad of the fungi will penetrate to the host with the help of the mechanical pressure and enzymes. The correct answer is option A. Okay. The hyphae wall of the intercellular hyphae come into contact with the host protoplasm and obtain food by direct diffusion. Okay, can you understand? So why you need that adhesive nature is to stick. It has to stick, right? It has to penetrate and move inside the host in order to use the host mechanism for itself and also to infect the host. Therefore, the correct answer is option A. Next question here. A good green manure in the rice field is dash. This is an easy question for you. Obviously, we know it is not aspergillus. Okay, because aspergillus is a fungi. What is mucor? Mucor is also a fungi, so it cannot be a manure. What about salvinia? Have you ever heard about the term salvinia? Is it a fungi or a bacteria, or is it mostly you would have heard the terms like salvinia and selaginella. What is salvinia now? Is it a bacteria or an salvinia is actually a plant? Okay, we will term it as Salvinia natans, and it's an annual floating aquatic fern. So once again, this is not the answer. So the left one is Isola. Have you ever heard about the term Isola? Isola is it's the genus of the 7 species of the aquatic ferns in the family Salvacinae. They are extremely reduced in the form of specialized looking nothing other typical ferns, but more resembling duckweed and some mosses. So Isola as green manure. Isola as, maybe you can also use this as a biofertilizer, because now they are using this as a green manure. The other name is also biofertilizer. It's a floating pteridophyte which contains endosymbiontic. That is what is the major function. If you see, it will help in nitrogen fixing, it seems. Okay, it helps in nitrogen fixing. Isola is either incorporated into the soil before rice planting, before you plant rice, or also grown as a dual crop along with rice. Okay, so this has a very good function when it is planted along with rice, it seems. Therefore, the correct answer to this question is option B, Isola. Okay, next question here. In fungi, stored food material is dash. This is a very easy question for you to answer, I think. We already saw about this in the earlier parts. Even when we discussed about the algae, I explained to you for each pigment related algae, each type of food is stored. Likewise, fungus also has something as a stored food which will help them in the survival of the organism. The stored food is obviously not starch, glucose or sucrose, it is glycogen. Glycogen is the stored food which is a major reserve food of animals, fungi and certain bacteria. Starch, which is a homopolysaccharide and is a major reserve food for plants, while sucrose is one molecule of glucose and one molecule of fructose. Therefore, the correct answer to this question is option A, glycogen. So here you have the description of whatever I explained is to your right side. So the fungi reserve food is called as glycogen, while starch is a reserve food for plants. Sucrose and glucose, if you see, they are homopolysaccharides, but they are present in very minimal amount. Okay, they are just occurring in combinations, that's all. Okay, next question here. Black rust of wheat is caused by dash. Okay, so you're given 4 options here. You have Yersinia, Aspergillus, Mucor, Rhizopus. Okay, so what is first the black rust of wheat? How can you describe it? First we have to talk about that. See, black rust of wheat, we already saw the loose smut of wheat, where the wheat grains and the plant becomes in powdered form. Now, wheat leaf rust is a fungal disease that affects the wheat, barley and some other plants as well. Infections can lead to production, actually they can lead up to 20% loss, which is because of this black rust of wheat. And this is particularly caused by the organism Yersinia graminis. Okay, so this is the causative organism of the black rust of wheat. Okay, so this leaf, so what is that black rust of wheat? Which part it will affect? It will affect the leaf. Okay, is the most common rust disease of the wheat. The fungus is an obligate parasite capable of producing infectious spores as long as the infected leaf tissue remains alive. Therefore, the correct answer to this question is option A, Yersinia, and you also have to your right side the picture of the black rust of wheat. So the part which is affected here is the leaves. So unless and until the leaf remains alive, the spores will be produced continuously and it will affect the other parts of the plant. Also, apart from that, when it is left unnoticed, it can lead to a big loss for people who are cultivating it. The correct answer is option A. Next question. Yersinia forms dash. This is again an easy question for you to answer. So you are given 4 options here. So just now we talked about the leaves. Of course, it is the wheat leaves. So we have a clue. It's wheat leaves. Apart from that, you have to tell me whether it is Uradia or Asia or Telia on the wheat leaves. So it is between A or B. The answer is between A or B. You just have to conclude what the answer is. Now basically, Yersinia causes black rust of wheat. It completes its life cycle in a 2 host where wheat and barberry is taken here. 2 types of spores are produced on the wheat. Okay, this is where you need to understand what are the 2 types of spores. Only then you can answer. One is Uradia spores and the other is, I'll write it down. What is the next one you have? Teleutospores. So you have 2 types of spores which are produced and it uses 2 types of host. One is from barberry and one is from wheat. Therefore, the correct answer to this question is option B, where you have Uradia and Telia on wheat leaves. The correct answer is option B. Next question here. Mycorrhiza is dash. This is a very easy question for you because we already discussed in the earlier parts of the same chapter. I told you it is a combination and it talks about symbiotic relationship. So when we talk about mycorrhiza, you always have to remember one thing. It is a combination of algae plus fungi. So they are living in a mutual relationship, or you call it in science as a symbiotic relationship, where they both grow together but they don't affect each other's growth. Okay, association of algae and fungi is referred to as lichen. Symbiotic association of rhizobium with the roots of leguminous plants is referred as symbiosis. Mycorrhiza is a symbiotic relationship seen between algae and fungi, especially of higher plants. The fungal partner of mycorrhiza obtains food from the roots of the higher plant and in return supplies mineral to it. So what happens? The fungi will take whatever it is necessary from it and in return it will give minerals for the plants. So this is only called as mycorrhiza. So it is a symbiotic association of plant roots and certain fungi. The correct answer is option A. Now you understand what is the meaning between symbiotic relationship. See, they don't affect each other. They take what they need, but they see to that each gets what it is needed. Now, since this fungi takes all the food from the root, it also sees to that it gives in return back some minerals which are required for the plant to survive. Okay, next question here. Which of the following is not correctly matched? Okay, root knot disease, it is caused by Javanica, it is right. Smut of Bajra, you call it as smut of Bajra, it is caused by Tolisporium, that is also correct. Covered smut of barley. See, covered smut of barley is caused by Asligo, but the species here is wrong. It is not Nuda, it is Asligo hodai. Okay, therefore the one which is wrong here is option C. So the causative organism of covered smut of barley is Asligo hodai and not Asligo nuda. This is a disease which is purely externally seed borne. Okay, next question here. The chemical compounds produced by the host plants to protect themselves against fungal infections. Okay, as I already said, fungi has a greater capacity of infecting plants, animals, every living organism around it. Especially plants are they are highly vulnerable to fungus infections. So the plant has to give in return back so that it can survive certain infections. So the chemical compound that is produced by the host plants to protect themselves against the fungal infection is phytoalexins. The correct answer is option C, phytoalexins. It is a non-specific antibiotic substance produced by plants in response to the infection by a fungus. So pathogen is not the answer. Hormone cannot be the answer. What do you mean by phytotoxin? I told you the answer now, but it is necessary that you know about phytotoxin also. See, phytotoxin are the substances that are poisonous or toxic to the growth of plants. Phytotoxic substances may result from human activities such as herbicides that may be produced by plants by microorganisms and naturally occurring chemical reactions. Therefore, phytotoxin is actually poisonous to the plant. The correct answer is phytoalexins, which is produced as an antibiotic to the infection that is caused by fungi. The correct answer is option C. Next question here. White rust disease is caused by dash. So you're given 4 options here. Claviceps, Phytophthora, Alternaria and Candida. The correct answer is option D. This is an obligate parasite which causes white rust on the member of family, Crucifera and some of other hosts. If you want to know something about white rust, okay, so this disease, if you see, it is also common in plants like mustard. You will name it as white rust of mustard. It is also called as white rust of mustard. Okay, what causes this white rust? If you see, it forms zinc. It forms when zinc is in the environment with hydrogen and oxygen. White rust is especially likely to form on newly galvanized material sometimes. And in plants, if you see, white rust in plants, see, white rust is not just seen in plants but also seen in other materials also. White rust disease in plants is caused by the oomycete. So what is the causative agent here? It is oomycete. Okay, of Albugo candida. White rust has been known to cause agricultural losses in fields. Cultivating members of this family include broccoli, cauliflower and other Indian mustards. The correct answer to this question is option D. That's what I said. Cauliflower, mustard, broccoli and other plants which come in that family are getting affected with Albugo candida, which is the infectious stage is the oomycete. Okay, next question here. Asligo causes plant diseases called smut because of dash. See, smut disease is caused by Asligo species by the basis of their basidiomycetes fungi. It is characterized by the formation of black colored chlamydospores or teleostospores, which are collectively called as smut spores. What are the two things which come under it? So here you can just see here, chlamydospores and eleutospores are called as a smut spores, due to which their affected part becomes black. Therefore, the correct answer to this question is affected parts become completely black. Usually it becomes in a powdered form, it seems. When you touch and see, it will actually get into a powdered form. Okay, next question here. Claviceps purpura, or you can call it as Claviceps purpurae, is the causal organism of dash. This is once again an easy question for you, which we already discussed in the earlier parts. If you remember, by now you would have guessed the answer. Yes, it is ergot of Ray. The fungus that causes this disease is called as ergot of Ray, is Clavipes purpurae. It contains many poisonous alkaloids. The hallucinogenic drug, which is LSD, is extracted from this particular fungi, Claviceps. Rust of the wheat is used by Eusenia. So here I've told you the other examples of here. If you see, rust of the wheat is caused by Eusenia. Then powdered mildew of the pea is caused by, so here you have the answer, it's called by Eripse. And smut of the barley we already discussed in the earlier question, right? So therefore the correct answer to this question is option C, ergot of Ray. Easy question, right? It's a repetition actually. Next question, absorbative heterotrophic. Okay, absorbative heterotrophic nutrition is exhibited by dash. So here you have once again 4 options. What do you mean by, so here algae cannot be the answer. I'll tell you why. Algae, bryophytes and pteridophytes cannot be the answer, because here they have given you a keyword which is heterotrophic. Heterotrophic means what? They are dependent on another source for the preparation of food or energy. So when the situation is like that, you all know bryophytes, pteridophytes, algae are all autotrophic in nature. So fungi alone is heterotrophic. The correct answer is fungi. Fungi are nutritionally saprophytes which grow on dead decaying matter. They secrete enzymes to the external medium where digestion takes place and digested food is absorbed by the body surface. They convert the complex organic constituents of the dead body into simple soluble forms, and that is why fungi is related to be heterotrophic or mode of nutrition. Therefore, the correct answer to this question is option B. So whenever you get questions like this, search for keywords so that even if you don't know the answer, with the help of the keywords, you'll be able to click in the right answer. So with this, we complete the part 7 of biological classification. Hope to meet you in the next part of the same chapter. Thank you.